there is a lot of talk about wars, terrorism, genocide, crime, but no one can say how to prevent this either now or in the future, because until now there have been the theoretical works that could suggest effective ways to eliminate this phenomenon. The adoption of new, more stringent articles of the criminal code is insufficient and ineffective. The harmfulness of terrorism is that one person can cause enormous harm to many people. Random, innocent people die. Society is kept in a state of unrest. Growing bulky sums of money are being spent on combating terrorism. They do not always have a sufficient effect, because any protection can be bypassed. And in addition, means of mass destruction can be used. Then the losses will become irreparable. The free world will never completely overcome terrorism, crime, breach of contract, the wide gap between rich and poor, fraud, and low moral values in families. The reason for this is the lack of implementation of solidarity liability, that is, simplified liability each for other. There, everyone is responsible only for themselves. It is solidarity liability is not only a special measure that can overcome the complex problem and contradictions of the modern world, but will also be an indicator of the special spiritual type of modern people. It is this that will completely eliminate not only terrorism as a global phenomenon, but also serious crime. Everyone knows that a person is not only an individual, but also a social being. We are all connected to each other by work, life, culture, interest, economy, power, and much more. Everyone's mistakes are reflected on all of us. Objective circumstances, independent of us, force us to pay for the consequences of violations committed by people around us. Perhaps this is precisely the eternal dreams of people for just society, but it is precisely in this solidarity liability truly just reality is determined. Solidarity liability, what is it? This is when children bear simplified liability for their parents when they commit serious crimes, and parents for their children. Other persons must also be responsible for each other to some extent according to the law and their voluntary consent. Responsibility for the activities of terrorists, especially suicide bombers, should also be borne by their families according to the law by limiting the territory of their permanent residence. Only solidarity liability for loved ones can stop extremists and lead to the gradual fading of terrorism. Solidarity liability would not be a violation of human rights, because it can be waived or voluntarily assumed. free movement between territories where solidarity liability will apply and where it will not apply may be restricted temporarily, but people of extremists orientation need to be isolated. And this must be done without violation human rights. Having solidarity liability will become a privilege and pride. This is the only way to prevent terrorism. Only such types of punishment, if they can be considered punishments, will be able to significantly reduce terrorism and other serious crimes and eventually eliminate this phenomena. A free democratic society has best reconciled different cultures, freedom of religion and worldview, free transfer of information, human rights and social guarantees have led to the fact that the states of the free world have already gotten rid in the internecine wars and that haunted these countries in the past. Democracy is not a panacea for dictatorships. Sometimes dictatorial regimes arise on the basis of democratic structures. Sometimes totalitarian systems rely on the majority of the population if the basis of their worldview is made up ideological schemes. Then the dictator himself becomes a hostage to such an ideological system. There is no other way to combat criminality and parasitic groups than enact a law of solidarity liability. Every immigrant entering the States must accept the law of solidarity liability. Thank you for your attention.